The most valued, I be feeling like $1 million in the bank account. The most valued, never die, cause I'm going for the big amount. The most valued, I just turn to robbers cause I really hold it down.
Hey guys, welcome to Most Valued Podcast. I'm your host, Becky Felsted, and we're missing our other co-host, John, today. He had a popped tyre again. We've told him to change mechanics, but we are joined today by a local business owner, jewellery maker and distributor and business extraordinaire, Ashlyn. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to get to know you, and I feel like if people can't tell, there's a clear age difference between us, so it would be really nice to kind of get to know you in your entrepreneurship and in being like a younger entrepreneur and the challenges that come with it. So I'm excited to dive into that.
Yeah.
So talk us through, I suppose, your business. So for people who haven't heard of, it's DIY Drip.
Yeah.
Love the name, and you kind of share with us where it came from. But talk us through what it is and what it's all about.
Yeah, so it's DIY Drip. I sell affordable jewellery. The point of the business is to make the jewellery quality but still affordable, because jewellery is a very marked up market. And in my experience, when I was trying to find jewellery when I didn't have money, it was very hard. So the point of my business is just to be able to provide that for people, so they don't have to worry about, because a lot of people worry about getting green marks, getting like irritation, all of this stuff. So I want to be able to provide and change their perspective on jewelry as well, and understand that just because it's cheaper, it doesn't mean it's bad quality. But the name came about from a suggestion from someone. I used to have a Instagram account with a lot of followers where I'd post just fashion inspo. And one day when I was looking into jewelry and stuff, I put it up on there. I put a poll and I asked people what are name suggestions. Someone said DIY Drip, and then it just resonated, so I went with it.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I do like the name 100%. And so when it comes to obviously being a business owner and entrepreneur, there's challenges that come with that, and there's things that behind closed doors people don't get to see. When it comes to having, how long have you had your business for, and what did it take to kind of get it up and running?
It's been 3 to 4 years. I think it's 3.5. But when I first started, it took 1 year for me to just where I was just mucking around making jewelry, selling it on the Depop, and just figuring out what I was doing. But after that 1 year, it blew up a bit on TikTok, and that's when I registered it as a business and I got the website. And then from there, the TikTok was already good, so the sales were kind of good as well. So now it's just been consistent since then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so with the challenges that come with business, what is it that people do? Obviously you go to markets, you'll share the things, when you are selling, and when there's been, you've had a really great market day, and, you're going to put on a smile and you put your best foot forward when it comes to being a business owner. What are some of the things that I suppose happens behind closed doors as a business owner that you think people don't know about?
There's so much. The biggest thing is that I've experienced is that my growth now as a person is linear to my business's growth.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have any limiting beliefs or any bad habits or any just thought patterns that aren't beneficial, or money blockages or anything, they're going to reflect in my business. And at the beginning, it was a bit hard to understand, because I'd never done personal development work. But I luckily bought a book around the same time I was starting, and that book helped me so much, because I realized all the things that were stopping me from becoming what I wanted to be. And at a young age, you don't think too much about these things. You kind of just think, yeah, I'm going to sell this, I'm going to make money, it's a happy days, But there's so much more. The personal development side for me has been the biggest challenge, but with the biggest rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is literally how and why my business has been able to grow, because I've been able to do the work. But that's the biggest challenge as well, because there's growing doesn't stop. It's never ending. You find new blockages, new things to heal from. But I feel a lot of people don't really know how hard the personal side of it is, because it's hard to run the business as it is. You're trying to do everything as well on your own. And then to know that you've got your own stuff that's affecting the business as well, it's you're doing a lot at once, but it's very rewarding though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so what was the book that you read?
It's called Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes for people to, and you can obviously recommend that. Did that kind of start you on the trajectory of doing self-help and personal development? And what was the ethos that you took from that book? What was it that stuck out?
First I went to Dimmicks just randomly. I was just standing there waiting for my dad to pick me up from the shopping center. I was like, I'll go in. I saw the book and it says Good Vibes, Good Life, but in between it says how self-love is the key to unlocking your success. I was like, okay, self-love, that would be nice, because like I was aware at least that my mind was not as, like, my thoughts weren't as nice to me. So then I got that. I read the book. The biggest thing I learned was that everything has energy, and the law of vibration, how some things are high frequency, some are low frequency. The people you hang around, the things you eat, wherever you go, what you watch, it all has a frequency. And when you learn that you're giving yourself all these low vibrational things, you realize you're not helping yourself grow or elevate. So that made me rethink every life decision. So I was like, the music I was listening to, I was like, is it low vibrational or is it high vibrational? What do the lyrics mean, you know? The food as well. I was like, how far am I from my food source? Because the further I am away, the lower frequency it has and the worse it is for me. I started building different habits as well, like going for hikes and stuff, because being in nature is more high vibrational. It was just like an overall, like, it was just life change. Mm-hmm. It was crazy.
I love that, and what you're speaking about is actually my jam. And I'm 37, and it's, you know, like on the personal development journey and the entrepreneurship journey, and I've done so many different things. Like I was a photographer for 15 years. I was a personal trainer for 7 years. I've been up in mining for and with each of those things, you get, you know, like life happens, and then you get beaten down, and then you know, other things happen, then great things happen. Yeah. And exactly like you're saying, the energy that is within you and the energy that you take on and the lack of self-love or the negative self-talk that comes absolutely impacts life and business. And I can definitely speak from a space where it's like when you can see it actually impacting your business and you're like, the only person in the way or the only thing that's in the way of this succeeding is me. Yeah. And like the grief that comes from that is like hectic. So like we were saying before, you know, you've the experiences that you may have had, what was it that you had to heal from? Was there a time in school that you struggled with? Was there a time in family life that you struggled with? Or what was it that you had to shake away or get rid of to help you grow in your business?
So for me, I was very insecure. I had a lot of it was just negative self-talk. I was highly critical. I still am a bit critical of myself. I'm still a perfectionist, and that perfectionist quality is what makes me so critical of myself. But also just generational trauma as well, because that passes on. So there's things that I didn't even know I needed to heal from, but I had to because it was passed on to me. So there was a lot, but the biggest thing was kind of just being more aware of what my mind was saying to myself, and just kind of being nicer about it, and learning that these thoughts came from somewhere else, but they're not my they're not my original thoughts. They're it's like what the ego wants to say to me, because that's what it thinks about me. But it's not true, because that's not me. Mm-hmm. You know? That was the biggest thing. It was more just my thought patterns and all that stuff. But through life experience as well, before 7 years old, everything that happens to you shapes your subconscious mind. And I can't even remember what I was doing for the first 7 years of my life. And that is stuff where it's now the rewiring of my subconscious mind is one of the harder things that I'm trying to do, because it's things I can't think of a memory where that made me think this way, but I have to kind of channel in and find out where did that thought pattern come from, and just kind of heal from, and not fix the subconscious patterns, but
change them,
to make them a bit better.
Be nicer to yourself. 100%. It's funny you bring up that and talking about the subconscious, because I've been seeing a couple of different therapists and seeing and doing some inner child work, and I've also been seeing a therapist called Terry, who works on your subconscious, and she's created this thing where you listen to it, you can't actually hear what they're saying, but it's like talking to your subconscious. And we were talking through about how, you know, I'm really hyper aware. So noises, when there's too much noise around, or if there's like a smell that's too intense, like I've only lived my life that way. Or when I've got those thoughts going on in your mind, she made me go back into my memory or things that have happened. And I, like you said, who can remember past 7?
Yeah.
So it turns out I burnt my hands as a kid when I was 2 years old. And she was talking about how the senses, what that's created in that trauma is that I'm hyper aware and pain is more painful to me, and sounds are more I've sensed them more, and smells. So in her house, it had a really intense smell about it. And I didn't realize that it was intense. But when I'd done the therapy, I walked out and I was like, oh, it smells really nice, like vanilla. And it wasn't until I understood, and it's such a blessing as like being in a younger person's body to have, and mind, to have that acknowledgement. And it's such a blessing that you have, and the ripple effect that you're causing with the friends and the family around you. What was when it comes to your upbringing of, you know, how you had to change from that, what was your parents, you know, like how was your parents' kind of thought process when it comes to shaping you or creating you, that you had to change with, you know, the book and self-development?
With them, it was a bit like it takes them a bit of time to kind of understand what I'm thinking or how I'm thinking, because it's very different for them, which I understand, because different generation, different, like they had a different life, like they had to come here, they had to provide for the family, everything, whereas my focus is more just you guys have provided a good life for me, but now I want to heal so I can provide a safe space for my children and stuff, you know. But for them, they're kind of confused, because when you say to a parent, I have trauma, they're like, we didn't do anything wrong. Where did the trauma come from? And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, you don't mean to do anything, but trauma is universal. Like, everyone's got it. It just happens, you know? And so they were a bit like, there was like a little phase where they were a bit like, just a bit upset, because they were like, are you blaming me
we
for
didn't
this?
do anything wrong. We did our very best. It's like, no, actually, it's nothing that you guys have done in particular. It's just my makeup.
Yeah, literally, like, but now I think they're starting to heal more as well, which is really good, because like it's never too late to start, you know? So they're starting to heal more, and they're starting to understand more where me, and because my brother's into this as well, they're trying to understand where we're coming from now, which is great, because now they're a bit more like patient. They understand a bit more. They know that some of the things that come out of our mouths, they might come across as brutal, but it's from a loving place, and we're just trying to be as truthful as we can, because we don't want to lie to them. We don't want them to, but we don't want them to be like, we don't want them to feel hurt.
Yeah, 100%.
But
and so when it comes to your business and with that growth and having done the work around yourself so that your business can grow, for people who are listening who are interested or are on the journey as well, what are some of the things that you've done aside from your personal development and aside from working on yourself that have been like integral in growing your business, do you think? Do you know, or?
The personal development's like the biggest part, but besides that, just new experiences. Just go do random things, you know? Like, I go to random events, not random, like networking events and stuff. I go on my own just to see what I would do, just to see who I would meet. Just kind of do whatever resonates with like your soul, whatever makes your like inner child happy. Just kind of go do those things, because they'll bring you closer to you. And then when you're closer to you, you can be more creative. You can do all the things, all the ideas will start coming up again, because you're sticking true to you. Because what can happen is you can get very distracted, very into doing the work, that you forget what the point of life is. And that's why I think like just new experiences, it just opens your mind up. You're just open to so many new things. You experience so much. And that shifts how you act about a lot of things. It shifts your perspective, and it just helps you grow with the business, because the ideas that you'll come up for the business will be a lot different, because you're so open to everything.
And what's been so like when it comes to your values and everything like that with the business, who is it that you're reaching out to? Is it, has it been something that's put you in rooms and able to have conversations, or has it been something, have you seen jewelry on somebody that you really admire that's reached out to you? Or what's been, I suppose, the highlight of being in business and being able to provide jewelry at a cost-effective price to people?
Recently, because I've only started doing pop-ups at shopping centers this year, and one of the best feelings is when you see young girls like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, they come to the shopping center, they want to buy a necklace, they pull out their purse, they get their change out, and then they get their friends to help them make enough change, and then they give you the change. And it's so wholesome to see, because it's like, I know that necklace is going to be good for them. I know that even if they don't understand jewelry metals or anything, like I know that it will last for them and that they can afford it and they can wear it, and they're tapping into that, like, I don't want to say femininity, but like they care about how they look. They're trying to style themselves. They're being creative. They're trying different things, And it's so wholesome to see because they're so young. But even like older people come, like 60 plus, and they stop and they look at the jewelry. And it's so nice to just see, like, because it's mainly women that I have come, it's so nice to see women of like literally all ages come and just get happy when they see jewelry and just wear it. Like it's a nice feeling to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have all your friends taken it on board? And like, has it been an integral part for you to have? Just wait for that to go past.
Yeah.
Has it been an integral part of your journey and your business growth as well to have support from the people around you?
Yeah, for sure. Because at the starting, like, it's very hard. Like, you start with 0 followers. Like, no one wants to follow an account with no followers. So your friends get onto it. They support you. They buy your jewelry as well, which is very nice because when they wear it out, other people see and they're like, okay, yeah, this person's wearing it. At school, I even had teachers support. I had a teacher order from me as well, which was crazy to see, but I knew they were supporting me as well. My family as well supports so much because like now, especially with the pop-ups and stuff, it's a lot more workload. And they're always there to support me, help me package the stock, help me set up for the pop-ups. They even come to the pop-ups. It's just really good to have that support.
And so what do your parents do? Are they quite business minded? Is there something that the wisdom that they imparted on you, or where do you think it came from for the fire in your belly to start a business for yourself? Because it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, I think it was kind of just natural, but both my parents display qualities where it's like, they could if they wanted to. Like, if they started a business, like, the way they think it could work for them. But, like, my mom right now, her job is more, like, computer work and stuff. But before, she used to sell things on eBay and make, like, decent from that. But now she doesn't anymore. My dad, he started a business once, but then stopped that one. But he's very, like, he's a manager, so he's very into, like, he knows how to handle a business.
Leadership.
He knows how to do all that stuff. But for me, it kind of just came naturally when, like, I got to a certain age. Like, I think it was, like, 12. And I was like, I need a job. Like, I need to make money now. Like, get me a job. And then no one would hire me because I was 12. And I think 13 was, like, the legal age at the time or something. So my mom had all these skincare products she used to sell. And she just put them on the side because she'd use them once or twice. And then she'd be like, no, I didn't like the product. She'll put it to the side. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to put this on Gumtree. So I put it on Gumtree, and then I would just sell it. People would come to the house. I'll be like, it's been used once or twice, And I'll tell my mom to come, talk to them, sell the product to them, see if they like anything else. And then they would buy stuff, and then I'll just take the money. I'll be like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of entrepreneur headspace at a young age.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there something that you're like aiming towards for yourself and your business? Is there something that you're like, oh yeah, do you think you'll have this business going forward, or have you got your eyes on the sky to be developing something or creating something, or what is it that you're looking towards?
Right now, I'm kind of like, there's a lot of things I want to do, but with DIY drip, I kind of just want to scale it to the point where, like, I don't have to do as much labor, but I can still manage everything to make sure everything's still going the way I like it. But I want to kind of like automate it so that other people will be able to do the work and I can just check that it's all good so that I can work on new projects. Because, like, one of the things I've started on the side is like a blog. I don't make money off it. Like, there's no ads. It's just kind of sitting in my bio. Just if anyone clicks on it, they'll find some good post. Otherwise, it's just there. And I just like to share like personal development, business tips, like all that sort of content, because I'm really into like just kind of helping people, and I just want them to heal as well. And that's like a big thing. And like with the business, I can't really help people heal, but the jewelry helps because it's providing a different sort of like
Like
benefit.
a conduit to that conversation, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so we were talking about before, so I made a little promise to myself 4 years ago that I wouldn't buy anything unless it was sustainable or ethically made, which is really bloody hard, like especially 4 years ago. And I know that, you know, I've got friends who are business owners. I had a girlfriend of mine, or a best friend of mine, who created bikinis which were made out of like plastic bottles. So I know how challenging it is to maintain that kind of value. And we were talking about how, you know, whether you're aware of where the things that you create are made and all that kind of stuff, and what you aspire to have in that space. So talk us through that kind of process and how you went about collecting the materials, and talk us through, you mentioned about the quality of the metals and things like that.
Yeah.
Talk us through, I suppose, not the logistics, but like the other things when it comes to the business that you've chosen to create.
Yeah, so with the like stock and stuff, I found just like a few good suppliers that I tried a couple of times. I was like, okay, these are good. And I just started ordering from them. By learning, like at the very beginning, I was kind of just ordering random things. I didn't even pay attention to the metal because I didn't know. And then that kind of led me to learning a lot about what type of jewelry does what and everything. And then when I found my suppliers, I kind of just stuck to them. So now I've still got them with me. But they're based overseas. I haven't seen them, but I'm hoping in future to do like a collection based off like an Indian style, like an Indian modern sort of jewelry, purely because I am Indian and I like Indian jewelry. But the thing with Indian jewelry is it's made of brass, only because the styles are so like, it's very intricate.
Extravagant.
Yeah. So brass is softer, so it's like it's easier. But I want to be able to create like a modern day range where it's not as intricate, but it has like the same sort of style, just for like my culture and the people in my culture as well. So we're still getting good quality but affordable, because it's hard to find affordable, good quality Indian jewelry. But with my like packaging and stuff, those ones I just sourced online as well. With the packaging though, I've seen like the factories and everything, which is good, because then you get to see like the whole process where it goes down, you know, you get to see the videos of the whole process, which is really nice. But I'm hoping one day I get to just travel the world and see everything, where it's made and all of that, but one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you a part of any, so you were talking about how we were able to be connected today and be on this. You were talking about how you network with people and everything like that.
Yeah.
Are you a part of any communities as well? And can you recommend any communities that have helped you progress in your journey and helped you with the conversations that you're able to have, that you can recommend to anybody who's on the journey as well?
Yeah. I'm not part of any like community as per se, but I just kind of know people from different like things purely by going to different events. But like one of the first networking events that I went to was hosted by the group called The 16. They do like events, they provide photography, they do like photo shoots for brands as well. They're really good people to know. It's run by the two guys called Jazz and Aaron. They're really good because it's a good community, and because they cover a lot of like services, you meet a lot of people who can do different things as well. Like they do music video shoots as well, which is really cool. So I remember the first time I went to that event, I met some cool people who have like stuck with me throughout, who I've been able to meet more people through. But at Curtin University, there's an entrepreneurs club or like a hub. I think it's called Student Entrepreneur Society.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to some of the networking events there because I know the person that's hosting it. It's a pretty cool club. Like if you're at Curtin, I would go there. Like the going to the hub as well, like seeing so many like-minded like individuals being able to work on their businesses in one space is pretty hectic, and like it's good for networking as well. And some of their events aren't like, you don't have to go to Curtin to go to some of the events.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, because usually they, you know, a lot of places you have to be a member or a student.
Yeah, but usually on their Instagram, they'll just post the events and you just kind of look at it, send them a message, hey, can I come? They'll probably be like, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then you show up.
Yeah, okay. And then I was going to ask you a question as well. So there's, and please take your time if you need to, is, you know, we all walk around the world not knowing who we are and, you know, the stories that are behind each person that we see. And I love to ask the question of, you know, like what's something about Ashlyn or what's something about yourself that people don't know that you wish they knew that's, you know, either been a part of your journey or is an integral part of who you are that you don't often get to share when it comes to speaking about your business or speaking about yourself?
Yeah, that one's a hard question because it's like I try to be as open as possible now. So I'm trying to share like all the knowledge I have, everything I've been through to help others. But I think like most people, I think just have the assumption about me that I kind of know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm just going with the flow, trying new things, getting help when I need it, doing new experiences and just kind of seeing where it takes me. Like I don't have anything planned out except for like a few short-term goals. But at the beginning, I had no plans, nothing. I think a lot of people, because a lot of people have asked me like, when you started, did you go to uni? Did you make a plan? What did you do? I'm like, I just went with the flow. And that's like the biggest thing I want people to know, because it's like, you don't need to have it all planned out, because sometimes we spend too much time thinking that we don't spend enough time doing. And then you get caught up thinking that you don't end up doing. And I want people to know that like when you're just doing, it will flow and everything will just work out, because that's just the best way to go about it, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I love that. And so like in your journey, when it comes to challenges, what has been some of the most challenging parts of not even just your business journey, but for yourself?
Yeah. I think it gets very lonely, the journey. Like when you start to do the personal development, especially while you're in high school, it's very hard because every day you're going to school, you're surrounded by so many people at once that it can get overwhelming, especially when you're trying to work on yourself and you're starting to notice other people's patterns and behaviors and like other things in your environment that are affecting you, but like the people around you aren't necessarily aware of it as well, which makes it very hard because you don't want to come across as like rude or like, you know, but you're trying to do what's best for you. But that is very hard to navigate. And
being self-aware in a world where people aren't self-aware.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, literally. Like you want to encourage people to be self-aware. You want to help them as well, but you can't force anything. And which is very hard. I'm learning to just kind of like send love. If it doesn't resonate with them, that's all right. Though when the time is right for them, it will be right. Like the journey happens at the right time for the right reasons, you know? But yeah, it's just a lonely journey only because like you start to learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about the world. You learn so much about your business that usually, like for me, the people I was hanging out with at school, none of them had a business. None of them were starting it, and that's fine. But you're on a little bit of a different journey, which makes it hard because your friends are still good, but there's like a part of you that has disconnection from them. And it's hard to find people that are able to connect on the same level, because when you can't find that connection is when you start to feel lonely and disconnected from society. So that's been a challenge as well. But like going to the networking events, just kind of trying new experiences and meeting like amazing people has really helped, because you find there's so many people in the same boat, so many people who feel lonely but then realize they're not lonely because they just needed to go to certain events or do certain things, and they found people that were like on the same path.
And we so do that as humans. We keep it to ourselves and we think that our experience is isolated, and it's not until you share it that you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of people in this world who are experiencing the same thing as me. And like you were talking about, or like we were talking about before, that when you realize that you're the only person in your own way, you kind of grieve that process. But that's also a part of that loneliness journey, is kind of going, I'm feeling lonely because I'm allowing myself to be lonely. I've made myself alone, and I've definitely been there before where I've just like isolated myself and been like, this is really hard, nobody gets it, and then gone, oh, actually if I share it, at the moment everybody's going through a massive like shift. I don't know if you feel it at the moment,
The energy shift.
there's some stuff going on, like you know, John, who was supposed to be here, is tired. I got my window smashed into the other day. Like my friends are all going through some stuff. There's 7 planets in retrograde, but you know, I don't know if this is the podcast that we're going to be talking about that, but I feel like with you and I, we could probably be talking about that.
For sure.
But So to finish up and to kind of wrap up, is there anything, so when it comes to, you know, affirmations, or if there's somebody that you look up to, or if there's a business owner, or, you know, somebody who's in the limelight, is there somebody that you look up to and somebody that you admire that you're kind of chasing?
No one that I'm chasing, more so like, I think the biggest thing is just be the biggest fan of yourself. Like, it's that self-love. The more I love myself, the more I love everything I do. And that's why, like, I don't, like, there are a lot of good role models. A lot of people have good qualities, a lot of things that they know that's like, okay, cool, I want to have the same level of knowledge. Like, my brother, for instance, he has a crazy amount of knowledge, smartest guy I've ever met in my life. But I'm still going to, like, I'm not going to try and be like him. I admire that he has that much knowledge and I love to learn from him. But at the end of the day, I want to be my biggest fan. I want to make sure that I'm trying to be the best me rather than be like
anyone else.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. So people don't know on this podcast, I used to run events called Quit Your Bitching, which was not what it sounds. It's like being kind to yourself and being kind to others. And the first one that I did was around diet culture and body image and self-love. And then the second one was around sensuality and sexuality. And it was like, it was crazy how it was channeled and how I ran those events, but being witness to so many people in the room, and they were women's events, about the negative self-talk that we have. And I used to do this thing called the negativity mirror, where you would write down all of the worst things that you've ever said to yourself, and I would probably kind of fib to them and say that you're not going to share them. And then we'd go into partners with each other and you'd have to say it to the other person. And just the interesting thing, and I'm absolutely guilty of it as well. I've always had really great body image because I grew up in a family that had that.
Yeah.
But how nasty we are, some of the things that we say to ourselves in our head.
Yeah.
Not even just about our body, about, you know, like so negative of you're shit, you're useless, like, you know, all of those things that you hear.
Yeah.
I love that even at a young age, you're understanding and you have that self-awareness, and it's admirable to have it now and to continue that when life kind of throws shit at you as well. But I just wanted to share that, and I love that we've kind of been put in this room together to have this conversation. Is there anything that you would like to impart, any wisdom that you'd like to impart, or anything that you've learnt that you'd like to share with the people before we wrap it up?
Nothing in particular. Just kind of go with the flow. Don't overthink anything. Do what feels right for you. Do what resonates with you. And if that means taking time off your job or stop studying because it feels too forced, then do what's best for you, because you're the only person that's going to know what's right for you, because it's your journey. It's no one else's, you know? Like, you're the only one that's going to know what resonates with your soul. No one else can tell you that. And that's the biggest thing I've learned. Like, no one can tell you how to live your life. Only you will know. And
so how do people find you? Have you got anything coming up that you'd like to share with people, or somewhere consistent that you show up?
I'm usually at Carousel Shopping Centre doing pop-ups, but recently I kind of like pop between all shopping centres. So if you just find my Instagram, which is at DIY_drip, you'll see all the pop-up info there. But I try to do 3 pop-ups a month at least, so you can just keep track of them there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. It was really nice to get to know you and the business and the challenges and also the highlights that you've experienced. But thank you for coming.
Oh, good. Thank you for having me. It was actually great.
Yes. I love that it was your first one as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Most Valued Podcast, guys. Make sure you subscribe, share. If there's anything that you loved about today, please reach out to us. But thank you for joining us today. Enjoy.